If you've been learning about manifestation for a while and applying the principles, you may have noticed two things. Number one, you may have noticed that while you can manifest it in one area of your life, you really struggle manifesting in all the other areas of your life at the same time. There's usually one where you're really good and the rest aren't so great. Or the second thing you may realize is that it's taking forever for your manifestations to come into your life. Well, in this video, I'm going to be explaining how to quantum jump in every single area of your life simultaneously by using masculine and feminine energy. Hi, my name is Amanda Abaya. Welcome to this channel where we talk about how to manifest what you want in life without all the extra stress, chaos, and drama that most people are accustomed to. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. And you can find all the ways to work with me in the description below. So let me set this up first on, why this even came to be as a video. Other than the fact that you guys suggested it in the comments, there's also another reason why I wanted to talk about this. So if you've seen my other videos, then you might know my story. And if you don't, then you're about to hear it. So a few years ago, I hit a rock bottom. I burned out really bad. I pretty much lost a business that I had at that time. And during that process, I really started to do a lot of inner work. And I started to realize that my whole life up until that point was really built on a lot of anxiety, trauma, stress, anxiety, fear, all those kinds of things. And I went from losing everything to in 18 months, I met my husband. I moved to another country and we started new brands and businesses. Now, these are all things that up until that point were a grind, were a struggle. I mean, I spent 10 years basically single before I was able to manifest my husband so quickly. Moving to another country, I was born and raised in the United States. I currently live in Mexico. That was also a dream of mine, to live in other countries that I never got any closer to because there was always some sort of issue or some sort of problem that would come up or some sort of roadblock to me being able to do it. And in terms of money, yeah, sure, I was successful and I was making money before, but it was a grind. It was really freaking hard, and I had to use a lot of my own masculine energy, which eventually just burned me out. So to go from there, right, where my whole life is built on anxiety, I end up losing everything to in 18 months, just completely turning my life around. I'm like, whoa, what did I do? What on earth did I do that suddenly I started manifesting so quickly? And I finally figured out the answer. The other reason why I wanted to bring this up is because up until relatively recently, I was like most of you, where I was like, cool, I can manifest really well in one area of my life, but perhaps not the other area. So at first for me, it was money. I finally got to a point where I was manifesting money, but then my relationships weren't working out, or I was no closer to moving abroad or anything like that. And my health was meh, right? So, or then I meet my husband and it was kind of like the reverse for a while. Where it's like, great, now I have love and I'm living in another country, but I'm going through this crazy career transition and now I don't know how I'm making money. So then it kind of went from like money's up here and everything else is up here to like this. So recently, I started being able, and my husband as well, to manifest and expand in every single area of our lives, all at the same time. And again, I was like, dang, what are we doing where this is working? So here are some examples. Our relationship is great. It's better than ever. In addition to that, we just manifested moving into a new home, and it's exactly what it is that we desired. I'm actually in the middle of the move right now. I am filming this while there's people coming in and out of this house for a bazaar and a garage sale because we're getting rid of stuff so that we're able to move more easily. And it's exactly what it is that we wanted and we desired when we said we were ready to move out of the current place that we are in right now. We have a relocation business that's doing incredibly well. We've got media opportunities coming to us all the time. My husband just manifested a speaking gig in the United States for international real estate investors. We have new clients or new potential clients sending in applications to work with us in the relocation company every single day. It's the easiest freaking business we've ever done, either of us. My husband mostly runs the operations for that business at this point. And then I just help with some marketing here and there, and then I'm able to do this. But the point is, it's like all expanding all at the same time. We look good because we've been taking care of ourselves, so on and so forth. I'm in the best shape I've been in years going through this process. So again, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Where suddenly things just flip and then everything started expanding all at the same time. And here's what I came up with. So, number one, right, we started focusing on our desires and manifesting our desires rather than manifesting from a place of fear and anxiety. Most people, when they start manifesting, it's from a place of fear and anxiety. Example, I don't have money. Let me go manifest money. I'm single and lonely. Let me go manifest my provider husband. Right? It's things like that, right? Or I'm overweight. Let me go manifest losing weight. So a lot of people are manifesting from a place of fear and anxiety, not from a place of desire. And while you're able to manifest from a place of fear and anxiety, if you're able to manifest from a place of fear and anxiety, because I certainly was, it was definitely a motivator. I mean, fear is a motivator. Let's be real. It's just a grind. It's hard. It's a lot harder than it needs to be. Whereas if you flip it and you start manifesting from a place of desire, I desire to live by the water and I want a pool and I want to be in a gated community and I want a yard for my dog and I want to be able to simplify my life and get out of the city, and then you're just like, this is my desire. I'm not attached to whether or not it happens. This is just what I want. And then boom, it happens in 24 hours like it happened to us. And it was super easy. We didn't have to do anything. All my husband had to do was go get coffee, mention that we were looking for a place to move to, and the father of the owner of the coffee shop overheard my husband and said, hey, I have a house out by Lake Chapala, which is a very famous area in Mexico for Mexicans and foreigners alike. I had it rented out to foreigners. They literally just left. If you guys want it, I'll rent it out to you. Boom, like this. It was not hard. And that's because we were manifesting from a place of desire, not from a place of anxiety. So what's interesting when you manifest from a place of desire, number one, it's way more fun. And what does the universe love? Fun. Number two, there isn't so much like stress, right? So your vibration is high because you're just playing a game at this point. And number three, you're not attached, right? So those are like the three main ingredients that you need to manifest quickly anyway. Now we run into the second problem that when people do start manifesting quickly, sometimes they sabotage. Not sometimes, most of the time they start to sabotage, or they can do it in one area of their life but not the other. So that brings me to the second point, which is in order to quantum jump and do it very quickly, and we'll get to the masculine and feminine energy momentarily, you need to do a lot of nervous system regulation work, right? Now, most people are walking around on autopilot, just reacting to everything that's going on around them. And most people are also have been conditioned and accustomed to expecting the literal bare minimum in life. So when things start getting good, you start to get very suspicious and your nervous system freaks out and you start to sabotage. So there are people, this has been studied for quite a long time actually. Gay Hendricks, in his very famous best-selling book, The Big Leap, calls it an upper limit problem. So things are starting to go well. This is your limit. Now you went above the limit and boom, you find some sort of way to sabotage to bring yourself back down because that's what your nervous system deems as safe. Other people call it container issues. Other people call it, you have to expand your energetic capacity. At the end of the day, all it comes down to is you have to learn how to regulate your nervous system, because your nervous system thinks that this limit is safe. But once you go past this limit of expansion, now it doesn't feel so safe anymore because that's not what you're used to. And it could be good changes. I've seen this happen over many, many years, having been a business coach where suddenly someone's making a whole lot of money, more money than they've ever made before. And here comes the freaking sabotage to take them out. And back then I'm like, what the hell is happening? I didn't understand until I lived it. And what it was is that their nervous systems could not get on board with their new life because their nervous system did not feel safe receiving to that capacity. So we have to do a lot of inner work. We have to do a lot of nervous system regulation so that we're able to expand what it is that we're able to receive. So one of the things both my husband and I have been doing recently is, whenever we go through a period of expansion, and I start to feel kind of anxious, right? Because every time I had a story running throughout my entire childhood that things couldn't get too good because then something bad would happen because my family has a pattern of survivor's guilt. Long story for another time. We'll have to put it in a book. So because of that, I always saw this pattern of things can't get too good. There's always some boogeyman around the corner or this shit's going to hit the fan. But I did notice around my 20s that my family had a tendency of that happening. And it turns out through a lot of inner work that I did in therapy that they have a pattern of survivor's guilt, but I'm the one who would play out that pattern. And if I'm not careful, I still play out that pattern. So as we're receiving more and more and more, I am making sure to regulate my nervous system every day. I'm doing inner work as much as possible. I'm expanding that energetic container through somatic practices, through journaling, through cognitive behavioral theory, you name it. I'm doing it all the time. And just through receiving more and then integrating that and then upping the ante so I can receive even more. The next one, right, is balancing the energies, right? So it's interesting that a lot of people don't notice this, but in order to make babies, you need masculine and feminine, right? Well, in order to create anything in life, you need masculine and feminine energy, whether it's money, businesses, opportunities, babies, art projects, anything that involves creation of any kind requires both masculine and feminine energies. And one thing that I have found really interesting in my own life and also in my marriage is when a woman, and I can only speak to the experience of a woman, eventually I'll have my husband on here to talk about to the men about their experience. But as a woman, when I learned how to balance out those masculine and feminine energies, that's when I started manifesting things very quickly in comparison to what I was doing before. Then when I got married, and then we went to our respective poles. So I live more in the feminine pole, he lives more in the masculine pole, and that's the dynamic of our relationship. It's supercharged all the manifestations. It's like 10x manifestations all of a sudden. And now I'm realizing why. It's because number one, that's kind of the order of the universe. There's literal universal laws about polarity and gender and all that kind of stuff that you can use to manifest. And by the way, it has nothing to do with sex and gender. We're talking about energies and essence here. So when there's literal universal laws that talk about this stuff in order to be able to manifest. So it would make sense then that when you're able to balance out these energies within yourself, and I'll talk about what that looks like for a woman in a second, and then you get into partnership and you guys are in the polarities that you're supposed to be in for the dynamic of that relationship, it would make sense that you start creating a lot faster all the time because you're taking those universal laws and those principles into consideration. So for example, for a woman, what it looks like, for most women, what it looks like balancing out those energies is we usually start off as wounded feminine, right? So that's when we're more doormatty, more people pleaser. Usually those types of women end up with very controlling men who they don't end up in good situations. Let's put it that way. Okay. Then the next up level from that, in order to get out of that wounded feminine, a lot of times you have to take on more masculine energy, right? Or co-opt it, as a lot of my friends in this space say, because it's not that you're becoming a man, you're just taking on masculine traits so that you learn how to take care of yourself. So if you're in wounded feminine, usually you have to take on more masculine energy so that you learn how to take care of yourself, so you get yourself out of desperate situations and you can have a lot more discernment. However, where we run into a problem in society, particularly in the West, is that women go overboard with the masculine energy. And that's what was happening to me in the previous business. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't really understand what was going on. And then that's when you burn out. That's when you crash. That's when you end up with men who are more feminine. That's when that happens, who are not taking on provider roles, who are not taking on protector roles, who they themselves are not in their healthy masculine because you're so much in your masculine, they're in their feminine, and opposites attract literally when it comes to polarity and relationships. So that's where you start running into problems. Now, if you're in a space where you've gone overboard with the masculine energy, then it's about how do I learn to be an empowered feminine woman rather than a wounded feminine woman, and I'll do another video on that. So once you figure that out within yourself, that's when you start manifesting more easily in your life. When I learned how to be more of my empowered feminine, I met my husband in 4 months and moved to another country within a year. These were things that I spent 15 years trying to manifest, and it wasn't happening, or there was always a problem, or there was always a challenge, or there was always some hiccup that would get in the way. But by balancing out these energies, it's like, boom, things started to happen very quickly. Now, in a relationship, usually the man is the more masculine pole, the woman is the more feminine pole, and then that's what creates attraction and creation, because you need attraction in order to make babies, let's put it that way. So then it would make sense that you need both those energies in order to create anything. So in a relationship, it's not just about creating babies, it's also about creating legacy. It's about creating businesses if that's what you so choose. It's about creating things together in the world. A lot of people go into a relationship trying to fill a void of some kind and don't realize that when you come in partnership with another person, it's to manifest things together that you were supposed to manifest together, whether that's children or what have you, whatever it is that you want, whatever your desire is. But children obviously is the most obvious example of how that works. So when you come together, right, and you are in a polarized relationship, it would make sense then that you're able to manifest 10 times faster in every area of your life. And then finally, the last point is move, do something, take some action. There's no point in you getting ideas once you start getting them and then not doing anything with the ideas, which is where most people stay stuck. Now, part of the reason why they stay stuck, again, they're not doing nervous system regulation work, so then they get paralyzed, and then that's their form of sabotage, is they'll get the idea but do nothing with it. And sometimes the ideas just seem completely random. For example, my husband he just had a craving for coffee at a local coffee shop here. He's like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna get myself some coffee from this place. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. He comes back and he's like, guess what happened? And I'm like, what? This was about 24 hours after deciding we did not want to stay in the house we were in. Because I was getting coffee, there was somebody there who was renting their house in the same neighborhood. I mentioned, hey, my wife and I are looking for a new place. He's like, come check out my house. He goes, but that's not the crazy part. The crazy part is that the father of the owner of the coffee shop heard me and came up to me and said, hey, I have this house by Lake Chapala, which is a very famous place in Mexico for Mexicans and foreigners alike. I just had it rented out to people. They just left. If you want it, I'll rent it to you guys. I already know you. I've known you guys for 2 years. You've been customers. We went to go check out the place and we loved it. And it was exactly what my husband had been visualizing and having dreams about once he was ready to get out of the city. So go figure that he gets this craving for coffee, follows that craving, and then boom, here's a new place to live. That is exactly what it is that we wanted, without stress, without drama, without extra paperwork, without some of the extra things that they ask for foreigners, because we already know the owner and the owner already knows us and has known us for 2 years. So now we're in that process of moving. There was no effort on our part whatsoever to make this happen because of everything I've talked about up until this video coming together. And then now we're just manifesting like crazy in every area of our lives. So I hope you guys found this helpful in terms of trying to make sense of quantum jumping and how to do it. This is based on my own experience, just going in retrospect to see what are we doing that this is happening so much right now. And this is what I came up with. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with a friend. Also make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. All the ways to work with me will be in the description, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.